Coach Maddie. I've lost over 80 pounds and I am your weight loss expert for today. And today I want to give you some tips and tricks for when you are in social gatherings, okay? Whether you are going out to parties and restaurants or you are hosting parties at your own place. And these tips and tricks are going to make sure you stay on track. They're going to reduce stress and anxiety around these social situations. And of course, at the end of the day, when you implement them properly, they're going to help you still lose weight and be able to enjoy your life at the same time. So let's dive in. There are kind of three main topics. First and foremost, whenever it is a party where you are going to somebody's house or people coming over to your house, you can, to some degree, if you're going to somebody else's house, you can control the food, right? So whether you bring food, right? Maybe you'll seem like the nicest person ever because you brought extra food for everybody else, but really you only brought the food because you wanted to make sure you had something that you could eat, like a healthier option. So fruit tray, a veggie tray, being the person that always brings that, or the person that always brings a salad, or the person that always brings an extra tasty, lean protein like a rotisserie chicken already made and keep it super easy for you. That is stuff that you can eat guilt-free and pick at all night at that party when you are surrounded by temptation and don't want to give in. That is one of the great tips that I use. Any party that I go to, I'm always bringing food for everybody, but the food that I am choosing is the healthier options that I know won't be there and that I can get away with overindulging on instead of, I had an entire plate of vegetables and dip instead of an entire plate of the desserts that they had there, right? Or the pastas or the side salads and the this and the that, right? So that is a great tip, okay? Always be the person that is the leader of health in your life, the leader of health in your family, the leader of health in your friends group. And everybody knows that, you kind of always bring the veggies, the fruit, the salads, or like a nice lean protein. You're always reliable. You're always going to feed people. It's just, you're always going to be the one that has the healthy option. And of course, you want to make sure that it's tasty so other people eat it too. And you're not the only one eating your food, right? So that's the first thing. I think a lot of the women that I talk to, they forget about that, right? Because they think it's impolite to bring food or not serve food that everybody's going to love, right? But at the end of the day, you are in charge. Your health is important. And if you don't set the boundaries and if you don't show people how serious you are about your health, how important to you, how integrated into your everyday lifestyle it is, they won't believe you. And then if they don't believe you, they will test you. They won't take you serious. And when somebody puts that energy out, when they don't think you're taking something serious, you feel that energy. And then you start to believe it and take it on yourself. That's why if you've ever felt discouraged, and then somebody said something to you that really sent you over the edge, that's why we would get stuck in that cycle and fall off back on because of the compliment, right? Somebody will say, oh, don't lose any more weight. Or they say, oh, I haven't noticed that you've lost weight, right? They'll say a bunch of things that we'll take in a weird way and it's just not helpful. And that's because you haven't shown and proven how important health is to you. So you have to prove it to yourself to then prove it to the world for then everybody else to get on board. And social gatherings are one of the best places you can do it because number one, it's one of the biggest tests, right? You're never really tested with willpower and conviction and discipline and dedication as much as you would be in a social setting where there's way more temptation all at once in a shorter amount of time. So it's great. It's a great test. Now, one of my favorite tricks, and I do this too, is let's say there's dessert there, or let's say you're in charge of dessert. You're the one bringing dessert to the party, or because you're hosting, you've got to provide dessert as well. One of the best tips when it comes to dessert, especially if you have a sweet tooth like me, my go-tos are brownies, chocolate chip cookies, German chocolate cake, cheesecake. Like I love the really decadent stuff. Now, if that's the case, I know that if I'm around that stuff, I'm going to have to resist a lot harder. It's going to take a lot more effort for me not to go overboard at least. Okay. So if that's the case for you listening, then what you should be doing is you should be providing a dessert or making a dessert that you actually aren't really interested in or you don't fancy too much, right? So if there was a German chocolate cake, I'd have a hard time resisting that as opposed to a pineapple upside down cake or a pound cake or a coffee cake, etc., right? If you don't like really, really sweet things, get a really sweet dessert. If you like citrus things, don't get the citrus stuff, right? So really play to your dislikes. And it's going to make it easier to say no because you don't even want it, instead of having to sit all night staring at a dessert table that you don't really have the strength by the end of the night to resist. So that's another great tip when it comes to hosting or having like potlucks, is that you bring desserts that you don't enjoy, right? So if everybody's asking, who wants to bring what? And you know that dessert is what throws you off the most, you say, oh, I'm bringing dessert. If you know that entrees are the ones that throw you off the most, or the proteins or the carbs that they serve, Aunt Mary always brings her super mayonnaise potato salad that you can't resist. Then you say, nope, I'm taking over the side salad, right? So strategically make or bring something that is a healthier option, has a little bit more healthy substitutes in it, or that you don't like to begin with, so you are not tempted by it. And that just completely wipes out an entire temptation. Makes your life easier. Now, the third thing, I really like this, because here's the thing, right? When we have these social situations, we're going into it guns blazing saying, okay, I'm really going to behave. Or we go into it saying, okay, I'm just going to have a little bit. I still want to enjoy myself, right? Usually that's kind of how we enter these social situations. Now, on special occasions, we enter these situations and we're like, okay, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm not going to restrict myself, and I'll start fresh afterwards. Right? Sometimes we do that when we're in the not best mental state, or we've been dieting and restricting too intensely for too long. That's how we view these social events. But for the most part, when we've had a regular week, when we are regularly in our routine trying to lose weight, we go into it saying, I'm going to resist, or I'm only going to have a little bit, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. And that's a great mindset to go into it, because it means you're thinking and planning ahead, which is important, because you don't want to, you won't want to leave anything up to chance or spur of the moment, because it is our impulses that get us. And the habit we are trying to rewire or recreate is that we don't instantly act to an impulse we get, those cravings, those temptations. So one of the best things for that is, depending on who you're going to be around, they could be bad influences, right? Your mother-in-law can always be like, have one bite. Oh, you have to try this. I made this just for you. Right? Or maybe your uncle says, you don't need to lose more weight, or one bite won't kill you, or I'm not going to see you for a long time. Come on, have a drink with me. Right? You'll get these little pressures, and sometimes we can handle them, sometimes we can't. And in my books, what I always tell to my Fit Queen community is, the more you have to say no to something, the more likely you are to about to say yes. So the more you have to say no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, 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 you're playing with fire, and you're about to say yes. So how do we avoid saying no, thank you, or no, or I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat that. Please don't offer it to me again. Depending on your family, my family's big on food, and they show love with food. So they're just pushing it on you. Eat, eat, eat. Come on, eat. What are you doing? Right? All that stuff. So if that's you, this is what I suggest. Okay. When you say no, you give a reason as to why the answer is no. Okay. And you don't give the answer you're supposed to. Don't give I'm trying to be healthy, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm on a special program. Don't give that answer, because people don't care. Okay, maybe there's a handful of people who'll be like, oh, awesome, good job, okay, I'll back off. But most people, they won't care. Most people subconsciously, you saying that will make them feel bad about themselves, because they're not on a special diet. They're not trying to be healthy. They're not trying to lose weight. They're going to subconsciously want you to join them on their bad behavior that day. So it would actually kind of, if you tell them that, it would give them a little bit more fuel to fight against you and keep tempting you. Not that they're bad people, but that's just kind of how the human mind works in that sense. So what are some good excuses? What are some good reasons as to why you're saying no? Well, here are some of my go-tos that I use frequently. If you have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and you're with your family and they know you have it, all you have to say is, no, thank you. My IBS is acting up today. I've kind of been running back and forth from the bathroom. I just got to be careful. Guess what? They won't ask you again. So you just reduced the amount of no's you have to say. Another thing you can say, no, I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling under the weather. My stomach is really upset. Or I'm on my period and my cramps are really bad, right? People, especially if you say that one to a man, they're going to back off. Trust me, right? Oh no, Uncle Jerry, my cramps for my period are really bad today. It really, really hurts. He's going to shut up and not mention it again, right? Another thing you can say as a reason as to why you're not eating is that you have allergies, right? You can say, if they know you have allergies, you can reiterate them, right? I'm gluten intolerant. I'm lactose intolerant. I'm allergic to onions, right? That's real stuff too. Maybe you can even say you just developed an allergy that's really bugging you and it really hurts your stomach when you eat it. Nobody will push something on you that's going to hurt you. So that's another one. And then my personal favorite, and this is for the brave people only, is you can tell people straight up, nope, I got food poisoning yesterday and now I have diarrhea. Seriously, I know it sounds crazy, but the second you do that, they will shut up. Nobody wants to talk about diarrhea. Now they're picturing you in the bathroom, blowing your brains out, right? So I know it sounds silly, I know it's kind of gross, but trust me, at all costs, you want to protect how many times you have to say no when you're in these social gatherings, especially if these social gatherings are your triggers and have been the reason you fall off. Especially if you've got social gatherings every weekend and all week you're pretty good and then you get thrown off on the weekend and then we repeat this cycle every week. Okay? These are some tips and tricks that can really, really help you. So number one, always bring the healthy food that you like or make the healthy food that you like. Number two, bring the unhealthy food that you don't like or make the dessert that you don't like so you're not tempted and there's food for other people, but you aren't going to have to say or going to have to use your willpower on it. And then number three, when you say no, you only want to be saying no a handful of times and you want to make sure that you give a reason as to why you're saying no. And that reason can't be related to actually being healthy and losing weight because people don't care. It has to be a reason that would make people stop asking, right? Got diarrhea. I'm feeling sick. I actually just got my test back and now I have an intolerance and can't eat it, etc. Okay? Those are kind of some weapons you can have in your back pocket to go forward and feel a little bit more successful. Remember, you don't have to go to your next social gathering or your party and be perfect and resist everything and not eat a sweet or not eat your favorite piece of food. But what you do have to do is go in with intention, go in with a plan, and go in with a shield where you can protect yourself as you go through it. Because it's silly to think that you're going to have amazing willpower, even if before you step into the party, you're feeling strong and you're like, this is the day that I'm going to be perfect. It never works out that way. Every hour you spend at that place, your willpower battery is draining. And if somebody catches you when that battery is drained, it is game over. So it's up to you to put as many shields in place to stop people from influencing that low willpower battery and making you make a decision where you will regret it or feel guilty about it, right? So sit down with yourself and say, okay, what would a really bad decision look like? What would completely letting myself down and throwing my goals to the wind look like? What would an okay decision where, I'm still on track for my goal, but I felt like I was still in control and balanced? What would that look like? And then what would a perfect look like, right? What would a perfect scenario look like, right? So you have the extremes on both ends and there's somewhere in the middle, and that's your only goal. Practice being in the middle. Okay. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on that bell notification as well so you don't miss another video with some weight loss tips and tricks. You can also head over to fitqueen.com if you want some more free gifts, tips and tricks, tidbits, learn about the Fit Queen way of weight loss. All that stuff is over at fitqueen.com. And I will see you next time.